And then when we moved to the west side, that was a whole new ball game there. And then when we get a chance to it and come back to it, I'll give you my take on it. And in the meantime, we had done enough work down in Chicago with the pastors that I mentioned before, you know, like Baggett and Buckles and the others in the church. And then, so the west side down there was blockbusting. And the Jews were leaving. That was a Jewish neighborhood. And they had those two seminaries, the Baptist Seminary and the Brethren Seminary there. Well, the Baptists fled theirs and it was completely vacant. And they, so did the Brethren. Their seminary fled, but they, bless their heart, they stayed. The people in the hospital stayed, they didn't flee. So well, it was a bird nest on the ground for us. We purchased that, the huge block that we had. It seemed like it was a whole block. It wasn't a whole block, but it had the administration building, and that was just a perfect place for us to live. It had the whole second floor, which it was for staff and things like that, plus classrooms, and had a separate building with the chapel and the basement and the basketball court and everything, you know. So it just was wonderful. That was a beautiful hall there that we had where the basketball thing was. Just perfect for us. So we moved in, got a contract with the Church of the Brethren and moved there. And started from there. And that was the fall of '63, I think. Did I say, yeah, 63. And so then people began to come in, and there were people that were acquainted with us, and now there's a better room or more room. Well, they'd move in there with us like that. The Hans came up, and Kay Hayes, and I don't know who else in that early group that came up with that time. Michael Borghi was the head of the, he's a lawyer downtown, and Betty taught school at that school there in there, which was great. They were a fan. But when 67 came, and you know, the riots, they fled, and not only fled, they were angry at us that we were out there, and so we had to get a new, and that's when David Wood became president. David was on the board, but Michael left the board at that time. But I hadn't heard about that name in months, you know, years now. But they were a fine couple. It's just too bad. And then I can't remember the guy's name. It was the head of the church Federation of Chicago.
Edgar Chandler.
Yeah, Edgar Chandler. You know, he was there. He left. And
he rehabbed that house down on Congress Parkway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right. So they were the two couples that I remember being out there related to us. They both didn't like the situation. They didn't want to go back. And so we built up our staff. The staff began to grow quite rapidly on the west side, and we had a lot of fallout from Vatican II people coming, Catholics, and we had some Jews coming in. And I remember this fellow from Canada, he married a Jewish girl, and she kept wondering whether she belonged. Matthews kept sicking her on to me to talk to keep her to stay, and she'd come in just a crisis, you know, and it had to be about with Jesus, and about whether she had to believe in Jesus. We talked about the Christ event, things like that. And I was trying to tell her that was not the point, you know. The point was Jesus. The Christ event was the experiential happening that anyone could happen, you know. Well, she'd go away, and then she'd come back, think about it a while, or she'd talk with somebody and everything else. Anyway, it was fun to work with them, and she stayed with us for months. And they weren't they in India for a while, that guy, and she was with him too, I think. I thought they were there with this school at one time.